Hello friends, welcome in NS class. In the previous class, we had seen chapter number 1, studying the medieval period. In that chapter, we had seen three periods, ancient, medieval and modern. In previous class, you had learned about the ancient history, and now in this class, you are going to learn about the medieval period of India, medieval history in India. Now, yesterday we had seen that medieval period consists of thousands of years that is lying between 8th century to 18th century. Medieval period has two phases. One is early medieval period and another one is later medieval period. Okay. Up till that we had seen. Now let us move on further. So knowing the geography of a region help us to know the history of that particular region. And to know the history, one should know or one should learn or one should study the maps. Now maps, how maps came in existence, let us see. For that, we are going to learn the new topic, cartography. Now what is cartography? Cartography is the art or the skill of drawing maps, and the person who draws the maps is known as cartographer. Now, in ancient India, cartography was almost unknown. No one was knowing about the cartography in ancient India. Now, so the growth of the trade and expansion of empires created the need of maps. Now, how the maps came in existence? The maps came in existence just because of the growth of the trade and expansion of empires. Okay. Now, the Arabs and the Europeans developed cartography as they traveled long distance across land and sea. Arabs and Europeans developed the cartography as they started going or as they started traveling in another different regions. Why? Just because of the growth of the trade, just to grow their trades and to grow their empires. And now, and when they came in contact with India, they introduced cartography in India also. Okay, so now after that, let's move further and to the next topic. So friends, to study information from the maps, texts and documents, the historians or the scholars have to remember historical backgrounds. So when a historian or a scholar studies the information about texts and documents or any maps, they have to remember the historical background of them. Because sometimes what happens when the places, sometimes the places even changes, sometimes the place which were in the existence in other map, they do not exist in other map also. Sometimes the rivers and the location or the river and the region can be changed. Example for Kalinga, when there was Kalinga, now in Odisha, it does not exist longer. As we have seen that the names of certain places or the location of certain rivers may have changed over time, which historians must research while working. When the historians work, they have to keep in mind maps. They have to keep in mind the historical backgrounds. Why? Because sometimes what happens that the places or the rivers or the location may have changed. For example, the kingdom of Kalinga, which consisted of parts of modern day Odisha, no longer exists. As we have seen, as you see in the map, if you search Kalinga, you will not find. Why? Because Kalinga now does not exist. It may have separated in other regions. Okay. So here we have another point: the historian and their sources. Historian and their sources. Now let's see. Historians use different kinds of sources to study past. When they want to study past, they use different kinds of sources. Example for text, documents and maps. If they want to study, they will study through the maps, texts and documents. Now, during the medieval period, the number of texts and record increased. Why? During the medieval, if we see in ancient period how the people used to archive or to store the information, they used pictorial language to store the information. But in medieval period, the people started to save maps, documents and text on the paper. Why? Because paper paper became more cheaper and common. So they started to store the information in paper. The texts written during the medieval period are preserved in archives and libraries. Whatever the information they had written on the paper, they started storing the papers or documents or maps in archives and libraries. As we have seen that all the materials, all the documents, all the text, all the history or all the information was written on paper and was archived or stored in a library. We can see that the information includes variety of materials such as royal orders, treaties, records of lands revenue and land grants, petition, holy text and chronicles of the king. For example, we have Mahabharata, Ramayana, or we have the rules which are made by early medieval period kings of India. Those are stored on a paper and they are stored in archives and libraries. So after that we will see next further in our next class.